I've been meaning to make this video for a while now, the heavy burst buff, and when we look at usage, we have Graviton Lance in the meta. I see him a ton, I'm sure you see him a ton. And that's gonna be a top winner with this buff, but in this video, I'm gonna explore why that is, but also some of the other big winners within the class, the things that they have that push them over the edge. And hey, if you've been following my channel, it's no secret, you know I have always been a hater of these, every single review of them. Now for the Crucible, nothing's changed on my end. I don't think that these are very good. Even the Trials one, Aisha's Care, that is set up for PvP, I don't really see them used. The 2 burst is unforgiving. If you miss a bullet of the burst, if one of the bullets gets flinched off and you only land 1, it really affects your time to kill. And its base time to kill is a 0.87, 5 crit, 1 body. A lot of things beat that at base. That all said, I just simply don't like these. I've been very vocal about that. But they got changed. And I look at it, you can too, it's a brand new weapon. It performs way differently. The Heavy Burst class, that includes Graviton and Revision 0, they increased the RPM from 300 to 324. PvE, they decreased the damage by 18% for legendaries. Gravlance and Revision 0 Heavy Burst, only reduced by 8%. This video is going to be about PvP, but I do have some things to say at the end about PvE. These were somewhat bad in the Crucible before this buff, but they were S tier in PvE. Now that they're here, somewhat shifted. They're A, possibly S tier in PvP, and they're slightly above the midline in PvE. But this buff, this RPM buff, shows just how much little shifts can totally bring up a weapon archetype and change a weapon, and also how RPM interacts with certain perks and other things. Because before, these were a 0.87 TTK, and I talked about it extensively in the review. 5 crit, 1 body. A lot of things beat that at base, especially at the range you were trying to duel in. And on top of that, when you did damage perks with them like a kill clip, it didn't push the TTK far enough. A lot of the damage buffs took that 0.87 to a 0.8, and that's kind of the midline for the PvP sandbox. If you really ramp them up, you can get a 4-bullet kill, a 2 burst for a 0.47. That was possible. But with this buff, this RPM increase, it's a 0.8 TTK. 5 crit, 1 body. More on this in a second. I want to talk about Graviton. I'm going to talk about a lot of other 2 bursts today, but let's talk about why Graviton is being used. It's a couple things. When you look at D2 Foundry, it says that it's got a 0.73 TTK at base. It does not. It's 0.8 just like the others. Like if you take a Nullify or Aisha's Care, whatever it is, they do 42.63 per crit, rounded to 43 in-game, so pretty much 86 per burst in-game. Graviton deals 37, then 50, and that's with rounding, maybe near rounding. Overall, just might be 1 damage point more, but that 50 is gonna stay. The second part of Black Hole is high damage and recoil with no fall off. So even at far distances, the first shot instead of 37 will hit like 20, 22, but you'll get the 50. The Catalyst gives it 90 range, 100 stability. So quote, high recoil or not, very controllable, it's a laser. But all of it together, you need to remember a couple things. It's got very high range at 90, and this class is separate from the other pulse rifles. Well, that and the aggressive burst, like a Disparity or Blast Furnace. All the other pulse rifles have a 39.95 range cap. So if you were to get a Messenger, 100 range, it goes to 39.95. If you were to get these 2 bursts to 100 range, like Aisha's Care, Nullify, their cap's 42.3 meters. And Graviton sitting at 90 range, it hits at 40.95 meters. So basically 41 meters. A full meter more than like a 100 range Messenger. And what that allows Graviton to do, like right here, that 37 goes to 32, but the 50 stays. So even past its fall off, it's able to duel extremely well, like scout rifle range. And Graviton can also spread some damage with cosmology after you get a final blow. But it's got some of the same qualities as Jade Rabbit. And why do I bring that up? Why when you see a scout, especially a high impact, you see Jade Rabbit? Sometimes Polaris. Those are mostly used, well, it's because of Zen Moment and high stability. Graviton kind of simulates that, extremely high stability like a laser, high damage. With the RPM increase, you also have to remember it's applying flinch differently. These things hit like a truck no matter which one you use, so it's applying flinch a lot faster, and with Graviton showing up in the meta like this, it kind of puts in stone how much the 0.8 base helped these. Because 0.8 is the baseline of the Crucible. 140s have it, a lot of weapons have it. A lot of weapons beat it, but this thing has range, it has the flinch factor. Graviton out of the box has a lot of plus sides. But the RPM buff allowing these to do a base 0.8 is huge. And if you get the right things on some of the other ones, they're just as good as Graviton Lance. They are. And one more thing before I move on, Grav Lance, like I said, just out of the box has a whole bunch of things. Vorpal and Turnabout. Vorpal isn't used in PvP, but it's nice to have it. Like in this game, I took out a Song of Flame, and later on in an Empowering Rift, in the same spot, I took out a Nova Warp and then a Thunder Crash. So even more on top of why Grav Lance is just good. But next, I want to talk about a couple legendaries, and the first one up is Aisha's Care, the Trials 2 burst, and Aisha's Care can get pretty scary pretty quick. It's the best statted 2 burst in the game, and as I go on here, keep in mind all of them match Gravilance's TTK of 0.8, 5 crit, 1 body, but the legendaries have a couple things going for them if you utilize it. And the success that you find with Gravilance can easily be found with the legendaries. You just don't really see them. Like this one, it has 100 range, and a lot of these 2 bursts can hit 100 range. And when they hit 100 range, they hit that unique 42.3 cap that these pulses have. This is over a meter more than Gravilance and 2 meters than a high impact pulse. Like I said, it's pretty much like a scout. And when you look at them now, like this one has Desperado, and it gets good, like really good. And remember, Desperado's archetype dependent. It's dependent on damage profile and RPM, like a Bygones. Let's take this example. Desperado takes the 0.93 to a 0.73, which is really good. But Kill Clip makes it a 2 burst to a 0.6, possibly a 0.53 depending on resilience level. And you don't need a headshot final blow like you do with Desperado. There's Stay Frosty, you know, we're going to be talking about this bad boy later on in the month. Desperado takes the 0.87 to a 0.71, a lot better, really, really good, but Kill Clip makes it a 0.53. Again, no headshot needed, faster TTK. But then you take a Messenger, Desperado takes the 0.67 to a 0.55. Kill Clip goes to a 0.6. And in this archetype's case, Desperado is faster. It's a long duration, but you need that headshot final blow. And most go with Kill Clip if they go a damage route instead of like a head seeker. But when we get into these, the 0.8 that it now has, Kill Clip gets it to a 0.73. More on this later, a lot better. Desperado with the RPM buff makes it a 0.62. Only weapon with the CTK. It's kind of unique and it's fast. It's really good. Before the RPM change is a 0.67, but the 0.87 was so bad at base, it didn't feel right to even try to get a kill chain going. But the 0.8 base now with the ceiling of the 0.62 is great. Like a really, really good spot. The 43 meters of range, it duels extremely well. And the base 0.8 is key. Mine has 100 range, 57 stability. Omeline Fluid Dynamics, 75 stability. And again, going back to that kind of long-range scout, Jade Rabbit-ish, having that high stability helps dramatically. This one also has Zen Moment to keep it even more stable. So Desperado's really, really good. But then we have Kill Clip, and a key difference from now to before. Originally, Kill Clip got it to a 0.8. It does a 0.8 at base now. So Kill Clip goes to the 0.73, which is really good. Great, actually, because you're taking into account its range, the 5-bullet kill. And even better, if you take it further, like a Radiant Dodge or a Rift, you can hit the 2 burst for a 0.43, which is wild with the range that it has. And I'm telling you, the legendary 2 burst can get scary. Very, very strong. And Aisha's Care has all the right perks. Zen, even Slice. Like, Slice works in the Crucible now. Slice Kill Clip, Slice Desperado. And even something like Golden Tricorn. And as I go through some other weapons, like even small damage boosts help. Golden Tricorn is a 0.73 just like Kill Clip, but you don't need to reload. And I have this one right here, which is Encore Kill Clip, helping the range, helping the stability. None of this was possible before. And if you get it stable enough, rangy enough, it performs really, really well. It's 10 times better in PvP. It really is. Then we have something like Nullify. Again, the 0.8, it just has it. But when you look at damage perks, even Desperate Measures 1 gets it to the 0.73. Multi-Kill Clip 1 gets it to 0.73. And it's a huge shift from a 0.87 to a 0.8 to a 0.75 to a 0.67 compared to 0.8, 0.73, 0.62, 0.43. And with Nullify, of course, if you do what you're supposed to do, you stay busy, there's Chaos Reshape 2. If you get that going, it's 58 per shot, you can 2 burst for the 0.43. Of course, Chaos Reshape 2 is an ideal game to game, but it's there. And these have the damage profiles to do that. And after playing with them, that 0.8 is just so good. You can make multiple 2 bursts work. Another one that we have is Corrasion. A lot of you should have this. If you want to go the damage route, it has High Ground 1, can get the 0.73. It has dueling stuff like Eye of the Storm, and Aisha's Care has Headseeker. I've actually seen a lot of those. They're working. Even Swash 1 at tier 8 and below can get a 0.73. Like, these opened up. And finally, for PvP, the other exotic that I want to talk about, no idea why I don't see this one more, and I don't have it fully crafted. I never got to it. Just the initial stages. It's 100 range, perpetual motion. So it's got 92 stability with perpetual motion too. And that, again, is that same theme. Long range weapon, high range, high stability, like the Jade Grav Lance. And this one, as far as dueling, might be the best one out of them all. And that includes Grav Lance, and mine isn't even in top form. And as the bonus, you get the sniper shots after the crits landed. These are the real deal, and anything I said in the past is just reversed. Because as I started with, it's basically a brand new weapon. They are. They got what they needed. All of them hit the 0.8 base. The exotics are reliable, and they're strong because of that. But the legendaries have a higher ceiling. Of course, you need them to roll right, but maybe over your next play session, over the weekend, it's Iron Banner, give them a shot. Give one of these a shot, other than Graviton Lance, because they're very, very strong. And I feel that Grav Lance shouldn't be the only one cracking the top 10. I mean, mean, it's number one. And as a matter of fact, I was looking, I think the next 2 burst on the meta list is Revision Zero at 78. We'll give them a shot. PvE-wise, they were the kings of legendary weapons for minor DPS. I mean, lower damage now, but higher RPM. It almost levels out. I think they're still top shelf. Like, Corrasion, to me, is still the top Volshot weapons, or at least one of them for PvE. I mean, Nullify, Chaos Reshaped, having the healing, having the damage, the Firefly Dragonfly roll still wrecks, and I still use the Chaos Reshaped one in higher tier content. It does well because that damage boost. And then we have the exotics, Revision Zero for super energy. A lot of people are doing that because of the fast supers. More so the 4 burst mode, of course, and Grav Lance still does its ad clear. I'd been meaning to make this one, and I wanted to show you what they did, how it translates, and why Graviton Lance is at the top. It's super good out of the box, but also as good as it is, we don't see the others frequently, and they're just as good. At least I think so. And worst case, you don't find success with them, there's always Graviton Lance. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about this 2 burst buff down below. I think it opens up a lot for the class and new weapons that come out with it, and a lot of ones that have been out. Each one has certain things about them that make them viable, but it's something to explore. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.